Tom, how are you?
I am well, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. We were just reminiscing about Fenway. Like the first time you see it, I can't imagine what a pitcher thinks when they walk in there. And because that green monster, it feels like it grows. It gets closer to you as you see it for the first time.
Well, that recalls the classic line from Bill Lee, of course, the nutty left-hander from the 70s. When he first saw Fenway, it was obviously before game batting practice, and he said, wait a second, do they leave that thing there for the games? Oh, yeah.
What is the ideal stadium for baseball now?
I still love Camden Yards a lot. Listen, you can't beat the history of Fenway and Wrigley. I'm going to separate those out. But in terms of modern conveniences and the way people watch a game, I like Camden Yards. It looks like it's been around forever, but it's got all the modern conveniences. And what you're seeing a lot of teams do now, Dan, is taking out seats and opening up these party areas because that's the way people watch a game. They watch it, like they're at a club or something where they're not exactly locked into every pitch. They're not keeping score. They want to chat with their buddies, have an adult beverage, and when something happens, they turn around and watch the game. So you're seeing these open areas, and they've been really popular.
Summarize the first month of the season. If you were given the audience the Cliff Notes version, where would you start?
Too many strikeouts. Besides the weather, which absolutely is terrible, there's nothing new about strikeouts, but it's got up now. I think it's about 11, 12 consecutive years. And usually baseball self-corrects itself. I don't see anything on the horizon that would stem the tide of strikeouts in the game today. And you're starting to ask the question, how much is too much? I did the game last night between the Yankees and the Astros, and more than half the outs in the game were strikeouts. And if you're an Astros fan, you're watching your team bat at the end of the game. The last 11 batters who came to the plate, 8 of them struck out against 3 different pitchers, and that's the game that we have now. It's predicated on home runs, obviously, but you're not seeing rallies. The rally is dead. Teams know it's just too hard to string together hits, so they swing for the fences once in a while, as Gary Sanchez did last night. They get it, but you have to live with all these strikeouts in between and a parade of relief pitchers to go out and get them.
Have you ever seen a pitcher punch himself or smack himself after giving up a home run, as we had last night when Sanchez went deep?
No, not unless it happened like in an Abbott and Costello movie or something. First of all, I can't believe that they chose to pitch to Gary Sanchez in that spot, first base open. You make a case that Sanchez is the best all-around hitter in that Yankee lineup. There's no way I'm pitching to him, and there's no way I'm making a pitcher around scenario. And if you watch the replays, Brian McCann actually has his glove in the strike zone, and Giles said he was trying to get him out in the strike zone. All of that is crazy, but punching yourself is even crazier than that.
Talking to Tom Verducci, senior baseball writer at Sports Illustrated. Explain the Dodgers situation.
Wow, that's a tough one. Obviously, injuries are a part of it. 3/4 of their infield is out. They really missed Justin Turner. Not just in the lineup, but I always thought he's like the heart and soul of that team. He makes them go. He's a great personality. But, listen, the run scoring actually hasn't been that bad. Their pitching hasn't been great. Defense hasn't been great. It's almost time to, I don't want to say panic. It's too early to do that, but wonder if that team's even going to make the playoffs. I know you can't really put a division away in the first month of the season, but you could lose one. And, Toronto last year was a good example. They were terrible out of the gates, and they played well the last 4 months, but just got buried in a good division. So, listen, I don't expect they're going to trade for Manny Machado again. I mean, it's just they're about resetting their tax rate when they go out and either re-sign Kershaw or go out and get Bryce Harper. The tax on that is going to be 20% rather than 50%. That's a huge difference that multiplies over years. So getting Machado right now would put them over the tax. I don't see that happening. It also costs their top 1 or 2 prospects. They've got to solve this from within. And by the way, I really did like Dave Roberts, who I love as a manager, calling out Bellinger for lack of hustle. That was not a lack of hustle where you embarrass the guy and sit him down. That's a professional 180 feet. That was a double all the way. If it's mishandled, he's on third base. That tells me there's more than just that one play going on in that Dodger clubhouse.
I've maintained for the last 2 years that Bryce Harper is going to be a $400 million player. Am I too light in that estimate? What do you think he's going to make on the open market?
Well, I'm with you. I think the meter drops with a 4. That's where it starts. I mean, when you think about Stanton's contract, you think about Zach Greinke as a 32-year-old pitcher getting $33 million a year on average annual value. This guy's going to be a free agent at 26 on a Hall of Fame trajectory. I mean, come on. He's going to sign for about 11 or 12 years. I do think the number starts with a 4. And I also think, besides Bryce being a great player, as I said, on a Hall of Fame track, I think he's what every team would want in this day and age where he's an everyday player. He's going to play 80 games at home rather than start 15 games. And he's a great investment for a franchise on the field and off the field. He's one of the, I want to say 3 or 4 people, I don't know what you think about this, but 3 or 4 people would walk down the street in any city in America without his jersey on, baseball player, and people know who he is. That's got some value to it. I'm not saying that's why you sign him. You sign him because he's a great player. But you get more.
But do you think the Dodgers are going to be all in on Bryce Harper?
I don't know. And, you know, that has not been their MO here. I think, obviously, they have to explore it. You can't rule it out, see where it goes. I mean, they have to take care of Kershaw, I would think, as priority number 1, because I'm expecting him to opt out, and you certainly want to keep him. But, no, I don't know that I would say the Dodgers are – I wouldn't call them a front runner by any means. Yeah. I think they would get in it and see where it goes.
Pujols is approaching 3,000 hits. Who will be the next to get 3,000 hits?
It's a good question. I haven't looked to see who's on the horizon, but I think about Jose Altuve as a guy who's at least tracking in that direction. I mean, just look at his games played. I mean, that's become an underrated skill in the game today where it's about resting guys and recovery. That dude plays every day, plays hard, and he's racking up his 200 hits every year. He looks to me, like I said this about Wade Boggs, late in his career, people thought, is he going to get there or not? When those guys get it in their head, and Ichiro is the same way, if they want that, they want their 200 hits a year, they want to get 3,000 hits, those single-minded guys are going to get it. And I see Altuve as that kind of player. I don't know the numbers if he's going to be the next one, but I like his odds.
Altuve, I think this will be the 5th consecutive year he'll lead the National League or the American League in hits or baseball in hits. I think that sounds right.
Yeah. It's crazy, too. I was looking at this, and we talked about the strikeouts. There are fewer singles in today's game than any point in baseball history. Now, think about that. On a percentage basis, it's harder to get a single than ever before in history. There's now more strikeouts than hits. And Altuve is like this throwback player now, right? Hits the ball all over the field. He gets a lot of hits, infield and outfield. He's one of my favorite players just to watch because he commands your attention anywhere on the field at any time.
But my concern with watching the game is there used to be so much movement, and there was a base hit or you move the runner over. Now it's either a strikeout or a home run, and therefore if you're trying to introduce this game to somebody and get a new audience, you know, the home runs are spectacular, but then you're going, hey, there's nothing that happens for like 7 minutes. And, you know, that's where you get instant gratification with a lot of these other sports. And baseball used to give you some gratification. Now it doesn't do that. That's my big concern about this home run strikeout situation.
You just touched on the biggest issue facing baseball, and that is movement. Think about, I think there was a time where you did a nightly highlight show.
Yes, I did.
Think, right?
Yes, I did.
And say you were doing a story on Kobe Bryant or Derek Jeter. There used to be just a still picture of that athlete behind you on the chyron, right?
Yeah.
Now you look at any kind of show, nightly news or highlight show, there's movement in the background, right? There's some kind of video. There's exciting graphics. And that's the way it is. We actually have retrained our brains, or if you're young, just train your brains, that you crave movement now. And you think about basketball, you think about football with the no huddle, you think about soccer. There's movement across the screen. And in baseball, what you have now is a static game. Strikeouts take a lot of pitches. Nothing's happened. When was the last time a video of a strikeout went viral, right? So that's the biggest challenge to me, that stolen bases down, like, in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
The hit and run is pretty much dead. The ball's not in play. So you just hit on the biggest issue to me. It's not the time of the game. It's the lack of motion in the game.
Yeah, if you have movement, then I'm not aware of the time element. But I'm aware of the time element because there's nothing going on. And therefore, you can't help but go, what time is it? Or how long am I going to stay with this game? Instead of saying, that's great baseball. Or, a sacrifice bunt or a hit and run or moving the runner over. Just all those little things, there was movement, even though it might not have seemed exciting, but it did keep your attention. And I think that's what baseball, how they address it, I don't know, because we've fallen in love with strikeouts, how hard you throw, and then, how far you can hit a home run.
When you figure it out, though, make sure you send an email to Rob Manfred, because I don't know what the answer is, because you have to realize that the way we train pitchers now, there's almost this endless supply of really good pitchers, and that's why you're seeing 4, 5, 6 pitchers per night who are just racking up these strikeouts. I don't know where that changes.
Safe travels back, Tom. Thanks for joining us.
You got it, man. Thanks.
That's Tom Verducci, senior baseball writer.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.